What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. We are back with my Bentley, my 2008 Bentley Continental GTC that I won from ACV Auctions for only $24,000. Now, I haven't had this vehicle very long, maybe a month and a half tops. I've driven it daily, I've enjoyed it, and then I got sick and I ended up in the hospital. So I decided the best thing to do is probably sell it. So here it is, the 2008 Bentley Continental GTC. This is the W12 6-liter convertible, all-wheel drive, amazing car, guys. If you've never driven one, I highly recommend you go find one and drive one. You could probably find one of these on, maybe something like Toro, where you could rent one for a day or two, enjoy it. I highly recommend it. They are phenomenal cars to drive. These are just not cars that I would suggest anyone actually buy and own. One little thing goes wrong with something like this, and it's over for your bank account. Just to give you an example, there's a turn signal bulb out on the front here. I don't know if it's there or there, but it's just one little turn signal bulb. It's not a big deal, except finding the bulb is next to impossible, and they're going to charge you at least $800 to change that bulb, because in order to get to it, the whole front end of the car has to come off. Not just this lower bumper, but also this entire fender has to come off as well to get to one light bulb. A starter in excess of $5,000 easily, and God forbid if anything serious actually goes wrong with this car, because this is a car that could bankrupt you so easily. Now, thankfully, I got a good one. Unfortunately, when you're buying them from auction like I do, it's very difficult to see if you're going to get a good deal or a bad deal until you get the car. All you can do is hope for the best. So let's pop the hood. I'll show you what's underneath. It's only got 91,000 miles on the odometer. This guy keeps driving by. I don't know what he's doing. He keeps driving by, doesn't even look. Just drives by real slow, over and over. He's been doing this all day. Very bizarre. Anyway, here's your 6-liter twin-turbo W12. That's right, W, because the cylinders, they're not just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in the shape of a W on each side. Very interesting. As you can see, there's no room under the hood to work on anything, like none. Forget about it. If you got to do anything to this car, well, you're probably going to need professional help. I like to make sure that the hood is latched. The car's got a couple minor issues, but nothing serious. It's got a nice matching set of Continental, no it doesn't. It's got 2 Continental Extreme contacts on the back. It's got 2 Pirellis on the front. One of the problems that I've had with this car from the beginning, and unfortunately I haven't had time to figure out, is this. The master switch for the gas door and the trunk doesn't work. Why? I have no idea. So in order to get into the gas tank or the trunk, you got to have the right key, because one is a valet key, the other one is the normal key. You got to pop the trunk, and then to get to the fuel door, you've got to pull this out. I'm doing this in case somebody sees this that bought the car. You got to pull this plunger right here, and then it opens your gas cap. Very important, because, well, you're going to need gas in this thing quite often. So the trunk and the fuel door are my biggest issues with this car. On top of, we do have a parking brake fault. I never looked into that either. And the check engine light, which came on for a mass airflow sensor. Again, something that we could have done. I just didn't get around to it, guys. We'll fire it up. You're greeted with the Bentley screen, several keys found, check engine light immediately comes on. That guy that keeps driving by finally stopped. He's going to get himself hit out here. Like, people fly through here. He parked halfway in the road and halfway in my yard. And he's looking for an address that I've never heard of before. And then he starts talking about buying a car, and I'm like, well, I don't sell to the public, so can't help you, man. He's like, well, maybe you know this girl. I'm like, I don't know anybody. I don't know the name. I don't know the address. There's nothing I can do for you. I'm very sorry. All right, so on the screen, we're greeted with a parking brake error. We also have a little light bulb, because I think it's the right front turn signal is the one that's not functioning. The check engine light, again, for the mass airflow sensor. But I've shown you guys before, long-term statistics, this thing has been getting 16.5 miles a gallon. It's got an absolutely insane stereo system. It has GPS, but there are just a few minor issues. Number one, the check engine light's on. That's not a big deal. You can buy the mass airflow sensor on Amazon for like $30. No joke. 30 bucks, you can change it in about 20 or 30 minutes. It's an easy part to change. Parking brake does not work. It says that there's a module fault. What that means, not a clue. I don't really care. The convertible top works. The adaptive suspension all works. Everything else works. Heat, air conditioning, it all works. All the windows, power locks, remote keyless entry, tilt wheel, power seats, even massaging seats. Yes, there's a massager. I forgot all about it until just now. I'm going to push it if I can remember where the button is. There it is. Yes, it has massaging seats. This is a very nice car, and honestly, I thought that for $24,000, I got it for a pretty good deal. The guy that just bought it down in Texas off of Copart's website, he got an even better deal because he got it for $23,700, well, plus fees. So truthfully, out the door, he paid a lot more than I did for this car. We're going to take it on just a short drive. I've already taken the tags off of it. Love that sound. Don't worry, I'm not speeding. Speed limit's 45. I'm going 40-ish, 42, 40, whatever. We're going to take it out for just a quick drive because this is our grand finale, and I like doing these farewell videos on my cars whenever possible because I don't want somebody coming back later and saying, oh, the transmission's blown up, or the front end was ripped off, or it's missing a fender, or, you know, something crazy. The engine's knocking. It's very important to me that we get these farewell videos, not just so you guys can say goodbye to the cars, but also kind of to cover my own behind and say, hey, look, these cars, if there's something like catastrophically wrong with them, you're not going to take them on a 10-mile drive. All right, trust me, 10 miles is a long way at highway speeds, and if something's wrong, most likely you're going to know about it. We're cruising over 70 miles an hour. Listen to how quiet it is. We're doing almost 80 right now. In a convertible, it is so quiet in this car. Like I said, the air conditioning works, the heat works. I'm getting my back massaged as I drive right now. I love this car, but ultimately I decided right before I went to the hospital, I decided that it was probably best to sell it. Not because there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything catastrophically wrong or about to be wrong with it, but it's one of those things. I've seen too many YouTubers buy these cars and end up getting themselves into a lot of trouble. It's one of those cars that all it takes is one thing to go wrong, and before you know it, you're into it for thousands and thousands of dollars. I've watched people like the Car Ninja do work on stuff like this. I think the Car Wizard's done some. Obviously, Tavares. The effort, the labor that it takes to get an engine out of this thing, if you've got to do that kind of a job, absolutely huge. Transmission, absolutely huge. There is nothing easy about this car that would make me think that I could tackle it myself in my own shop, especially now that I just had surgery. I'm still on the mend. I still can't lift more than 20 pounds. Basically, I can't do anything. I can walk around and I can drive. And that's about the extent of what I'm capable of right now. I'm very thankful to be feeling a lot better. Hopefully you guys can tell I'm feeling a whole lot better, but I'm in no position to be going out and walking for miles at Copart or IAA. So I got to thinking about it, and I was like, you know, until I'm better, I really should look at getting rid of some of these cars just to get them off my property, get them off the balance sheet and everything. Just wipe this stuff out. Let's just get rid of several of them. When I get back, I'm going to show you the ones that I think I'm going to get rid of. I haven't made a decision yet. There'll be a dedicated video on that. But Monkey Wrench Mike is coming down the day after tomorrow. For me, this is Tuesday, and it is the 26th. Sorry, it's the 26th, it's a Tuesday, and Monkey Wrench Mike is coming down on Thursday. We're going to do a little more work on the Monte Carlo SS, try to hopefully get most of it buttoned up and get the hood back on it. So that should be an interesting video. I hope you guys come back and watch that as well. Always appreciate Monkey Wrench Mike. Santa's Workshop said he's going to try to come out, but his wife has an appointment that day, and it's a pretty important appointment, so he's going to be busy the majority of the day. So here you go, guys. As you can see, we're cruising. We've almost made it to the halfway point, and the car gives us no issues at all, man. It's a solid car, and when you think about it, what else are you going to buy for $24,000 that's as impressive as this car? Now, you got to be a risk taker to buy something like this. You just have to be, because anything can go wrong at any time on something like this, and it'll most likely be a big deal. Regardless of what it is, it'll most likely end up being a big deal. So you got to be a gambler. You got to be a risk taker if you're going to buy something like this and hope to enjoy it. And thankfully, I love the gamble. I love the risk, and this is one that, at least for me, paid off. I did lose a little bit of money, but not much, guys. Like I said, I paid $24,000 for it. There was like $300 in auction fees, so really no big deal there. And then I probably paid, I think it came from Florida, so I probably paid about $1,500 in shipping. You know, my seller's fees, of course, there are fees to sell it. Those are usually about $300, $300 to $400 to sell it. So you guys can do the math for yourself. But like realistically, what did I lose on this car? A couple $1,000, maybe. I don't consider that a loss. It's a loss on paper. Understand that. It's a loss on paper for sure, which is great for taxes. But personally, I got to drive around in a Bentley for a month or so, man. I got to ride around in this thing with the top down, people breaking their necks staring at it. I know. A lot of you see these old Bentleys all the time, and there's really nothing that impressive about them these days. But out here in the boondocks in Oklahoma, out in the sticks, a Bentley's a Bentley, man. It could be from the 80s. It doesn't matter. A Bentley is a Bentley. People see it and they're like, wow, that's a baller. Okay, I'm a baller on a budget, whatever. But it still gets lots of attention, and it's an absolutely fun car to drive. I enjoy every minute of it. And as soon as you put that throttle down, that exhaust, oh man. I'm intentionally keeping you guys off the speedometer, all right? Now, listen, I wouldn't be out here smashing on it if I was worried about this car, right? I'd be very careful. I'd be very gentle with this car. This is honestly, for the money, a car you can go out and just have a good time with, man. Just understand that eventually something big is going to break, and you should probably keep at least $5,000 put back for an emergency scenario like that. If you can do that, if you can afford to fix it, then I think you should absolutely buy one. Otherwise, if you don't have at least $5,000 set back for emergencies, I wouldn't touch this car with a 10-foot pole. I know I don't have my seatbelt on. Sorry, guys. Believe it or not, putting my seatbelt on still kind of hurts my stomach from the surgery. It's very tender, very delicate. So sometimes I don't wear my seatbelt, but I highly recommend always wear your seatbelt. Just a special circumstance right now. I'm making my own decisions on this one. Anyway, guys, we drove it. We're almost all the way back to the house again. It's a wonderful car. I don't know who bought it. I don't know if it's a subscriber. I genuinely hope that it is, and I hope that you see this video and leave us a comment. I hope you love it as much as I do. And I get people upset all the time with me because I'm always selling the cars. I tell you how much I love them, and then I sell them. And I guess I can understand your confusion. It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? If you love something, why would you get rid of it? And the answer, I answer this all the time, but it's like the people keep coming and asking questions. So I try my best to acknowledge and address your concerns. It's because I have no choice, guys. I paid $24,000 for this car, probably like $25,500 or something after shipping and maybe a little bit more. I don't know, $25,500, $26,000 tops after auction fees and everything. That's a lot of money. All right, I mean, to some people, maybe it's not a lot of money. To me, $26,000 is a lot of money. And as much as I love the car, what am I going to do? The car didn't break, all right? We could have changed the mass airflow sensor. It would have taken me 20 minutes tops. The video would have been 5 minutes long. changing a mass airflow sensor. It's not worth the time. It's not worth the effort. There's no revenue. There's no video revenue there for me. The car didn't break. I thought there might be something that would make for some good content, something that was going to go wrong, and it didn't happen. I drove it every day. I drove the living hell out of this car, and it just doesn't break. It's solid. It's reliable. And honestly, as great as that sounds to most of you, that makes for bad video. There's no video content in this car for me. So it's time to move it on down the road and try to find something else to bring some content to the channel. That's how this works. If I kept everything, and I get it, there's a lot of YouTubers that keep everything. And I say to them, good for you. That would be really cool. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to be that guy that has 20 cars stored on a rack in his garage and none of them ever get driven, and they just eventually start leaking their fluids all over all of my other nice cars. If I can't drive them regularly, I don't want them. I want these cars to be out on the road, belonging to people that are actually going to use them. One thing that I just can't stand is cars being parked, sinking into the dirt, not being used. All right, we're home. We can shut it off. I went ahead and raised it up to its highest ride height. I did that because I know they're sending a tow truck for this thing, and I'm hoping to God that Copart does not think about forking this car. So much damage gets done to these cars. They're pretty brittle when it comes to the bumpers and stuff. I don't want this car forklifted, but just in case somebody decides, hey, let's forklift a Bentley, I would rather it be as high off the ground as possible so those forks have as much room to get under there and hopefully not damage anything. The last thing I want is for the new owner of this car to get surprised well, by getting a broken car. So I did everything in my power to make sure the car is going to arrive safe and sound to the new owner. Like I said, if you bought it, if you're the winner of the car, man, drop a comment below, definitely, and hell, post a video or something and send it to my email, autoauctionrebuilds@gmail.com. Send me an email with a link to your video, man. I'd really love to see your reaction to your new car. I hope you enjoy it. I loved it. It was a great car, but like I said, it doesn't do me any good sitting here, and it doesn't do me any good if there's nothing worth making video content about. Now that brings us to the next cars that I plan on selling, and this one has been an exceptionally difficult sell. In fact, it's been more than difficult. It's been the only car that I've not been able to sell. It brings about $3,500 at auction, and that is it. And I hate to admit it, but I'm actually considering going ahead and letting it go for around that $3,500 price tag. I think that's stupid cheap. It's going to cost you more than that just to import the thing from Japan. It's not doable. It has a few issues, but I mean, it's a running and driving car, already imported with a clean title. All the hard work has been done. All you got to do is tinker with it and get it back to where it needs to be. Mainly, I think it just needs a carburetor and a set of tires. I really believe that's all this car needs. Unfortunately, you know, the market brings what the market brings, and there's nothing I can do about that. It's outside of my control. So if 35 is all I can get out of it, as hesitant as I am to let it go for that kind of money, it's killing me seeing the thing just sitting here. So I'm probably going to relist it for sale, and then whatever it brings is whatever it brings. We've got the 95 Bonnie over here, the SE. It's got some problems, unexpected, which is great for video content, like I said. So this one's going to be sticking around. I'm not selling this one. We got to figure out what's wrong with it. And I had a lot of people tell me because it's a 95, it's OBD1. And they said, all you got to do is stick a paper clip in there and it'll tell you the codes. No, no, no. It doesn't work that way on 95s. Most 95 vehicles manufactured by General Motors are what they call OBD 1.5. That means they have what looks like an OBD2 port, or is it an OBD1? I can't remember. It's a hybrid is what it is. It will resemble like an OBD1 port, but it is not wired the same as an OBD1 port. You don't go into these 1.5s and start sticking paper clips in. Doesn't work that way. You got to have a special scan tool for most 95 General Motors vehicles because they were mostly hybrids, these weird 1.5s. That's right. Look it up. They're not OBD2. They're not OBD1. They're OBD 1.5. Now, thankfully, it took me a lot of research to find this Actron scanner. and it was very expensive. It was almost as expensive to buy the scan tool for this car as the car was. That's how expensive it was, and it took almost a month for the product to get here, but I have it. We're gonna come back to this one. Let's move over here and see what else we're selling. So my beautiful 12,000 mile 2023 Ram 1500 Limited with the Hemi e-Torque, air suspension, all the goodies, man, except for a sunroof. It's got everything but the sunroof. I've had a lot of you asking if I'm actually gonna go through with selling this, and the answer is yes. And the answer is no. It currently has 12,000 miles on it. I really don't use it all that much, except for after having surgery. This is probably the most comfortable vehicle I own. And after having surgery, I wanted to ride in something that wasn't going to rattle me to death. So definitely been using it for this. But for the most part, this has not been my daily driver for a long time. So I told you guys before, I owe $90,000. And that comes from years of wrapping negative equity into loan after loan after loan. And that's where it is. David Stanley offered me $50,000 for it, and I can't do that, guys. Carvana offered me like 52 or 53, and I wasn't willing to do that either. But Carvana just got back to me in an email, I think yesterday, and they offered me 56. And I'm honestly thinking, man, I know it's a big check that I'm going to have to write. I was aware of that from the beginning. Obviously, there's negative equity. I've got to pay it off. The only way to do that is to write a check for it. I don't want to write a check for $35,000, but ultimately, that may be the best thing I can do, guys. There's no reason for me to have a $90,000 debt sitting on my credit for a truck that's only worth $56,000. So I'm considering it. It's a lot of money. It's not something I'm ready to do right now. I've got medical bills that are going to start flooding in. I got to take care of those first and foremost. And then I'll make a decision probably in the next month or two whether or not I want to sell the truck and eat that $35,000, or if I just want to keep the truck and hold on to my $35,000. Honestly, keeping the 35 grand in the bank, I kind of like that idea a little bit better. So basically what I'm saying is I'm indecisive, but if I'm going to do it, it'll probably be within the next 2 to 3 months. So stay tuned and we'll see what happens there. Next, we got the 2016 Cadillac ELR. Electric luxury roadster. That's what somebody told me it meant. I honestly have no idea. This is one that I've been very hesitant to sell. And there's a whole story on this. I'm gonna have to do another video on this about Carvana. Carvana offered me an insane deal on this car. I don't even remember what I paid, but it wasn't very much. And Carvana offered me a really crazy number on this, and I was like, bet, done. But as you notice, well, the car is still sitting here. That's because things did not work out the way I was hoping they were going to work out on this car. It's really dirty. It's been sitting here getting pooped on. Birds, you know, it needs a bath desperately bad. Nothing wrong with the car, though. I've had no issues with this car at all. None. Ever since I got it back from the dealership, it has been running, driving, charging absolutely great, getting insane fuel economy, very comfortable, and it's catchy, man. People look at it, people stare because it's like, what is it? You can tell that it's not a CTS, so what is it? It gets people's attention. That's one of the things I love about it. And with like 63,000 miles on the odometer, I'm sure this thing has a long, healthy life ahead of it. I'm not quite ready to let it go just yet, but I do think in the very near future, this one is probably going to be, it's going to be going down the road. I don't need it. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm not really driving it anymore. And it's fixed. There's nothing wrong with it. So there's no video content. Next is the 84 Chevy. I'm so torn on what to do with this truck. I absolutely adore this truck. I love this generation of Chevy, man. I really do. It is beautiful. It doesn't leak anything. I put brand new tires on it. I put a brand new carburetor on it, plugs, wires, cap rotor, went through, did the whole tune-up thing, timing, all that good stuff. It's got cold R12 air conditioning. It's one of those trucks, everything works. And it just looks so good. It's pretty rare to see something like this that looks this good out cruising around, and it gets looks everywhere. About the only thing left that I really wanted to do to it, it's probably locked. Yeah, the only thing that I really need to do to this is put shocks on it. I spent over $600 on Bilstein or Bilstein shock absorbers for this thing. I got the good stuff. I got the good stuff for it. I'm going to put those on. We'll do a video putting the new shock absorbers on it. I guarantee you it's going to drive like a dream, because currently it does that. You know what I mean? It's kind of bouncy going up and down these bad roads. But I do have to make a decision on this one as well. And it's one of those things that when I first got it, I drove it all the time. I was driving it every day. And now it just sits here, kind of like the rest of the cars. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Now it sits here, and I've got to decide, am I actually going to use this? Or is this something that I need to send down the road and let somebody else enjoy? And honestly, I don't have an answer for that right now, but my initial thoughts are I'm probably going to let it go. I really don't want to, but that's probably what's going to happen. I just don't see myself really utilizing this truck enough to justify keeping it. Next, we've got the 2011 Porsche Boxer. And this one was a little controversial. I paid $14,000 for it, and personally, I think I got a steal of a deal on it. It has just at 100,000 miles, which means it's at the perfect mileage to need maintenance. Needs some work. It's got good tires. The body looks good. The paint's decent. I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but the convertible top works, heat, air works, no warning lights on the dash, runs and drives like a top. It does everything it's supposed to do, except for the spoiler. The spoiler back there doesn't work. Aside from that, and this door handle does not open from the outside. You can hear it rattle. Something has come off in there. So at a minimum, we need to take the door panel off. At most, we may need to actually replace a couple of components. It's got a couple of missing fender liners from the front. You know, what I'm trying to say is it's definitely not perfect. But I think for 14 grand, I got a steal of a deal. And I had a lot of people come out and say that this car isn't worth more than $7,000. And listen, it's got a clean title. You know, clean Carfax report, and like I said, runs and drives like it's supposed to. It's got the PDK transmission. It's an automatic, which some people don't like, but you have to understand that the PDK shifts quicker than a manual transmission. So if you actually want the faster car, you want the one with the PDK transmission in it. For what it is, it's a great car. And 14 grand was honestly a steal of a deal for this. Go look around online, and I don't know where all of you are thinking that you're finding these for $7,000, but I promise you, you're confused. You're not finding one of these from this generation for $7,000. I think what a lot of people are doing is they're confusing the runny egg headlight look. You know, I don't remember the 996 or 9, whatever. They got the, whatever designation. It's the one that had the lights that came down and then they ran way over. It looked like an egg just kind of right out, man. I think that's what a lot of people are talking about. This is not that generation of Boxster. Okay, this car is far superior in every way to those old school Boxsters. It may not be particularly fast, but it drives like it's on rails. If you ever driven a Miata, then it is exactly the opposite of driving a Miata. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty dang quick for what it is. Handles like it's on rails. Wonderful little car. And I still think for 14 grand, even though it needs a few minor little things in there, I think it was a hell of a deal. And this one currently, I don't anticipate selling. As soon as I can get back to work, I think I'd like to order some of the pieces that are broken or missing, and I'd like to make some videos fixing it up, maybe even doing plugs, maybe coils, maybe an oil change, things of that nature. We'll see how I feel and how long it takes before I get back to doing things, but I would like to actually bring this in and do a little bit of work to it. Now that brings us over here to my 2011 Chevy Silverado 3500 work truck. That I found so much information out about this truck, guys. I got to make a whole nother video on this. The first two videos, one of them was a Copart or an IAA walk around, did phenomenal, got like 80,000 views. The first actual video I did on this, purchasing it and bringing it home, that video has crossed 100,000 views. So the truck is obviously content gold, but there is more to the story that I was not aware of, because this truck was actually a little famous back in the day, and the people that built it actually got a hold of me through Instagram, and they said, hey, this used to be our truck. They sent me some pictures, and let's just say there's a dedicated video coming of this truck back in its day. And I'll also tell you, it did not start its life out purplish pink. All right, it was actually red and black, and it looked really, really good. I've already sourced a bed for this. The bed's going to cost me between $1,100 and $1,300, which really isn't that bad. I think I'm going to go ahead and replace both of the leaf springs, just out of an abundance of caution. I think it would make sense to replace both leaf springs just to be on the safe side. Those are going to cost me about $150 a piece. So let's say $1,300 for the bed, another $300 for both leaf springs. You're looking at $1,600, and we should have this thing ready to go back together. It shouldn't take too long to rebuild it. It's not damaged badly. I think the hardest part is going to be deciding what to do with the bed. Are we going to rhino line it or scorpion line it and try to make it match this truck? And if so, maybe we could actually contact the original owners. Maybe they would be interested in helping us take the new bed and rhino line this thing. You know, maybe we could do something. Maybe we could work something out with them. I think it'd be cool to take it all the way back to Indiana, where it came from, to the original owners, and they could maybe help us make it look better. Again, we have nothing in the works, no negotiations or anything like that going on. It's just an idea for now, but this truck is super cool. I'm waiting to hear back from them. They could not remember if there were switches for the lights or where they were, so they're supposed to get back with me today, and hopefully, if they can remember, it's been 7 years. It's been 7 years since they owned the truck. Hopefully they can remember where the switches are, and we might even be able to get the lights working. We got new batteries for it. Those AGM batteries were expensive. They were close to $500, I think, for the pair. But this truck, I don't think, is going anywhere anytime soon. Some of you love it, some of you hate it. Personally, I think this thing is awesome, and I think it needs my logo somewhere on it. Last but not least, the Monte Carlo SS. This car has just, it's taken a toll. In fact, it's crazy, because the last thing I did before I went to the hospital was I came out here and I worked on this thing all night by myself. I really put in some hours on this thing, and well, that was the last thing I did before I went to the hospital. I came back a few days ago. I tried to do some work on this. It ended catastrophically. It went horribly bad. Things did not go well. I don't even want to get into it, really, but more videos of this car to come. Obviously, I never got around to getting the wiring. I want to get looms on all of this. I want to clean all of this up, make it look better. I think I've got the transmission adjusted to where it needs to be, but we're just having some technical difficulties. Nothing that you wouldn't expect when you're kind of custom building a car from scratch. Right now, we're having an issue with the water pump pulley. It's wobbling like this. It threw a belt, this belt right here, and ruined it, and I'm pretty sure it ruined that belt as well, so I had to buy another belt. That's a $30 belt. This is about a $10 belt, so $40 in belts ruined, because this is my second AutoZone water pump. The first one was cracked. This one, I don't know what's going on, but let me see if I can start it. I'm a little leery. I'm afraid that fan is going to end up going through my $400 cold case radiator. Take a look at that pulley. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. We have another issue. The transmission I can't seem to find park. I think my shifter cable, because the pan is a little bit deeper on this one than it is on the original 204. I think the shifter cable is not reaching all the way. So it doesn't actually go into park. So we're going to have to probably slot the bracket so that we can move it forward and backwards until we get it lined up perfectly. But this car is quickly approaching its finale as far as being put together. I'm still trying to decide whether to take it to Mako, have them do a proper paint job on this. Of course, we'd get new stickers, you know, the new decals and everything. I would love this car before Power Tour to just look the part. Monkey Wrench Mike is going to come out here. We are going to attempt to change out the accumulator, the evaporator, the heater core, and then once all that stuff is replaced, we can hook up the air conditioning system, hopefully get the oil in it, charge it up. With any luck, everything works like it's supposed to, and then we should be able to put the hood on it. And as far as I'm concerned after that, aside from cleaning up wiring and some little stuff here and there, this car is very, very close to being done. And with that, that's everything I have. That's the entire video. Not sure, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Just kind of a quick walkthrough of most of my projects, most of my cars, and my thoughts on what I plan on doing. And as you can tell, I'm relatively indecisive on a lot of things. First and foremost, I got to find out how much all these medical bills are, and I still have follow-up appointments and stuff as well, so we're not out of the woods yet. But I'm a whole lot closer today than I was yesterday, and I'm very thankful to be up and around, to be able to drive myself, to be able to do, well, a lot of things myself. I'm very thankful to be where I am today. I'm feeling a whole lot better. I'm just not ready to get back into the swing of things yet. The doctor doesn't think it's a good idea, and regardless of the doctor, my body's telling me we're not there yet. But this is what I got. This is what I got to contend with. You guys can drop your comments below and tell me what you think. What do you think I should sell? What do you think I should keep? I know a lot of you are going to be torn on that 84 Chevy Truck, man. I'm really surprised that that's the one that I'm the most torn on. I also don't want to sell that little Nissan BE1 for $3,500. Anyway, I've got a lot to think about, but I'm going to get out of here. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button and let me know. Consider subscribing to the channel and be sure to drop your comments down below. Till next time, stay safe out there, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon in the next one.